Adventure Time's newest series, Fionna and Cake, has finally kicked off, with the first 2 episodes appropriately named after 2 of its lead characters, Fionna Campbell and Simon Petrikov. I got chills on that Simon title card, man. Introducing us to a world where everyone we know and love in the gender-swapped Land of Ooo have been transformed into humans, forced to live in a world without magic. Although some look more human than others. So here's the deal. Usually when a big story-driven cartoon rolls out, I like to cover every episode of a breakdown highlighting details, foreshadowing, theories, and my general thoughts on the episode. But with Fionna and Cake, I kinda can't, because like with Fired on Mars, I was able to get screeners for the first 7 episodes of the show. So I know 3/4 of what's gonna happen, which kinda makes it hard for me to do traditional breakdowns without playing dumb, or risk never getting screeners again because oops, I spoiled the show. Which will never happen, you're not getting spoilers out of me. And it's an incredible show, by the way. There's so much I have to say about the impact this show could have on adult animation. But let's save it for another day. So yeah, once the season is over, I plan on releasing a big breakdown of all 10 episodes so I can cover all the foreshadowing and continuity, and you'll all have a banger to watch, or listen to while you draw, or play video games, or whatever you do while YouTube's on in another tab. That doesn't mean I won't have anything to say about the season until then, as I do think every episode provides something worth talking about on its own. So you can still expect something Fionna and Cake related from the channel each week. Case in point, for the premiere, I want to talk about all of the human-fied characters in Fionna's universe in this video, and the parallel journey that Fionna and Simon share in another. How have these characters and their signature traits changed in a non-magical world? And how do these first 2 episodes flawlessly transform Adventure Time into an adult animated series? For those answers, we gotta dive headfirst into the multiverse. And please, consider subscribing to the Roundtable with notifications on so you never miss a video. Of course, we gotta kick things off with Fionna, full name Fionna Campbell, because in this universe, her mom would have been her dad, and her dad would have been her mom. So instead of taking Martin's last name, or Martini? Fionna has Minerva's last name. Minervan. That's probably it. If you ask me, Fionna at the start of this series is a genius take on what happens when you take the adventure out of Finn, in more ways than one. Adventurer is the closest thing Finn has to an occupation. Traveling all over Ooo, fighting monsters, kicking butt, and saving the day. At the start of the OG series, his greatest aspiration in life was to be a hero. Not only that, but so much of Finn's development throughout the series came through his adventures. Take all of that away, and you don't get someone like the 29-year-old Finn we see in the 2nd episode, who's come a long way from the 12-year-old boy we met at the start of the series. Although he's definitely still in need of some emotional maturity if his interactions with Simon are anything to go by.
I used to bust your balls about those old stories, but I really came around to them.
Instead, you're left with someone like Fionna, a directionless, depressed 20-something who feels as if she has little attachment to the world around her. The highs in her life feel like tiny drops of water in an ocean of lows. In other words, she just like me for real. In my opinion, she's a version of Finn who hasn't gone through nearly the same amount of character development. As a result, she's just as impulsive, short-tempered, and crude as early series Finn. Illustrated best when she's fired by Queenie, aka the Queen of Ooo, and declares she didn't even want the job, proceeding to drop her pants. Or when she straight up tells Gary Prince she has poor impulse control when it comes to sweets. If there is one big difference between Fionna and Finn, it's that, for now, Fionna's kinda selfish. Not saying Finn was never selfish, but at his core, he was a very selfless person. I mean, we're all still thinking about that one line from Come Along With Me, right?
I always figured I'd go out saving somebody.
Now, Fionna's selfishness seems to stem from the fact that she feels like she's owed something from the world, and that, to an extent, she feels as if she has a higher purpose than everyone else around her. The best example of this is during her bus tour. As an audience, we know that all of the citizens having dreams with their magic lives does mean something. But Fionna downplays all of that by specifying that only her dreams mean something, which Marshall Lee quickly humbles her on.
Obviously, you're dreaming about a cool ice prince now because you just got dumped by a hot DJ Flame. That's it, I'm right.
Although he really didn't have to put her on blast like that, Jesus.
Bro, you got dumped by DJ Flame?
Of course, this is only Fionna at the beginning of the story. before her multiverse hopping adventure that's going to give her perspective and lead to some introspection. Her arc is just beginning. These flaws don't define her, but like Finn, they are something she'll need to overcome in order to become the hero she's destined to be. Not that Finn no longer has any flaws. Together Again showed that by the end of his life, he was still a little impulsive. Bro skipped the tutorial for the afterlife when he realized he could see Jake again. Wholesome ass. Speaking of Jake, let's talk about our homegirl Cake, who right now is just a little domesticated house cat, but still retains a lot of her Cake Jake tendencies. For example, a scene that really stood out to me was during the opening montage when Fionna got dumped by DJ Flame. We all love Jake's words of wisdom and moral support, right? And we all know that one line where he was all like, "This is my favorite cup," and then he breaks it and he's all like, "Now it's gone forever."
So it's not real, and I don't care about it anymore.
Cake more or less conveys the same message without having to say a word, as when she sees Fionna moping over the breakup, Cake simply swats the phone out of her hand, setting it directly into the toilet. It's such a small yet important way to convey that even without the ability to speak or to comprehend what humans are saying, Cake looks out for Fionna just like how Jake looked out for Finn, doing her best to keep Fionna's spirit high. But I also love how this show leans more into Cake being a cat. My fellow cat owners know that cats tend to go wherever they please, and when they want to get into something, they will find a way in. Cake follows this idea to a T, doing everything in her power to follow the magic ice before leaping into the Ice Queen's cream cart. I'm very fortunate that Milkshakes is afraid of the outdoors, because if he ran out, I'd probably have a heart attack. As the series continues, you'll see more of the similarities and differences between Cake and Jake, and I'm very excited to read everyone's thoughts as more episodes release. Marshall freaking Lee. There's only so much I have to say about Marshall Lee in this video, because he definitely is given a lot more substance later in the season. But for now, I will say that I absolutely love his character and his friendship with Fionna. His design rules. He's just like me for real! And I love how he has a mole on his neck where his 2 bite marks would be. And since he's no longer half vampire, his genes allow his beautiful locks to thrive. He's a rebellious rock star in the making, while still managing to be the much more lax side of Marceline, regularly playing on the street and bumming rides off of Fionna through her tours without actually paying for them. But I think it's important to note that he's not leeching off of her. They're helping each other out where they can. We learn that in this universe, his mom, Miss Abadir, isn't the ruler of the Nightosphere, but instead something much, much worse. She's a landlord. She actually owns the building that Fionna lives in, and as a result, it seems as if Marshall has convinced his mom to let some payments slide a few times before. However, at the start of this show, he's not on speaking terms with his mom, and I guess you'll just have to keep watching to see why. I gotta say though, making his mom a landlord is absolutely genius, given Marshall Lee's introduction in the original series, with the episode Evicted. Real ones remember this as the first episode of Adventure Time that they ever saw, as Cartoon Network aired it as a sneak peek back in the day. In this episode, Marceline kicked Finn and Jake out of the treehouse after revealing that she owned the tree years ago. To take a detail from over a decade ago and work that into the lore for Fionna's non-magical universe is great. But yeah, not much else I can really say about Marshall until we all have a chance to see the bigger picture. Gumball, or should I call him Gary Prince because... wait! Oh, neat! Gary is another galaxy-brained reinvention of his candy counterparts. Instead of creating experiments in the Candy Kingdom, he's experimenting at the bakery he works at. Sadly, it's under new management by a bossy Beatrice Butler, this world's version of Butterscotch Butler. I like that this interpretation of the two builds upon Gumball and Butterscotch's game back in 5 Short Tables, where Butterscotch kept poking at Gumball's insecurities, which she only knew because apparently he leaves his diary out everywhere. In Fionna and Cake the series, Gary is very insecure about his skills as a chef and is unsure about his various pastry ideas. And unfortunately, even in this universe, Beatrice is still raining on his parade, treating his work like trash and telling him to stick with what's traditional. According to Adamudo, Gary isn't as bossy as Bubblegum, but he's more apprehensive and has some of the ambition. Marshall Lee has the same parenting issues as Marceline, but he's not superpowered. I'm pretty shocked that Gary and Marshall evidently haven't met, as they both seem to have known Fionna for a pretty long time. But as you can already figure out from the trailers and Marshall's reaction to Gary's baking, there's more in store for these two that I think people are going to be really happy with. Next up, we have Ellis P, who's obviously this world's version of Ellis P, an animal-loving stoner who lives in the woods and is good buds with Marshall Lee. Hey, checks out that these two would vibe well together. He claims to be a pet guru of sorts, but it's obvious that he's bullshitting to an extent. But like, Cake was seeing the trippy ripples around him, so there's that. Homie's onto something, but he's not putting in all the effort. I don't have much to say on him because he's really not that far off from Ellis P or LSP, and from what I've seen, a lot of his other appearances are just fun gags. Alright, with the main characters out of the way, let's shift gears to the smaller cameos. Finn and Huntress Wizard shippers are eating good with this series, as not only does Finn imply that the two are together after all this time, but Fionna also meets Hunter, this world's Huntress Wizard, a kind-hearted, nature-loving boy who seems to take immediate interest in Fionna. But between her recent breakup and Cake acting strange, she really wasn't paying him any attention. Hunter really seems to be a glass half full kind of guy, while Fionna is stuck in a very negative frame of mind. So I'm hoping that by the end of the season, they'll be able to properly hit it off. I think he would have a pretty positive impact on her. He clearly provides a lot of the perspective that Fionna needs in her life right now.
I dream about being a banana.
Mine's too messed up to even talk about.
Dude, when it clicked that this was Fern, I shat myself. Well, if you ever needed reassurance that Fern was indeed his own person, and not just an extension of Finn, look no further than the fact that they continue to exist in this world. I love this look for Fern. The flowers in her head, the different shades of green all throughout her hair and clothes. I just wish we got to learn more about her. But we don't, so I'm moving on. Flame Prince has been transformed into DJ Flame, which I think is a nod to Flame Princess being a freestyle rapper, like how Marceline plays the bass, but Vampire Marshall Lee played the electric guitar. DJ Flame and Fionna have a short-lived relationship that ends with him dumping her over text. Not cool, dude. The Lady Lemongrabs return, this time as Karens, struggling to walk their dog in the park, the dog itself being a nod towards the lemon camel. But there's actually a bit more in store for these two ladies, so there's not much more I can say. Starchy appears and definitely still seems to be a gravedigger, although it's interesting that he hasn't been gender swapped. There's a few characters who haven't. I wonder what's up with that. Cinnamon Bun in a dress returns and barely looks any different from her human form. Danielle, Hot Dog Princess, and a Banana Guard appear on the bus. A gender-swapped Ash makes an appearance on the street alongside Wildberry. Lemon Hope tries to sell Fionna mixtapes. And last but not least, the bus is Bounce House Princess. Now I know some people have been speculating that the Fushigi guy is actually Leaf Man. And there's speculation that the two skater girls are supposed to be anyone new, so here's your answer. Given that they appear in Fionna's walk down the street, which mirrors Simon's walk back to the human city, we know for a fact that these are new characters. At least, I don't think they've been prominent in Adventure Time before. Side note, I love how the Banana Guards are having the exact same conversation in both universes. I will dig into more of the neat Easter eggs and parallels in these scenes in another video. But for now, comment down below and let me know what you think about these human-fied characters in the city of Ooo? City of Ah? One of those work. And stay in the loop by subscribing to the Roundtable with notifications on so you never miss a video. And keep up with me on Twitter and Instagram at OstricVox. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.